What you practice in private, you'll be rewarded for in public. A lot of the day-to-day habits that we do each day either help or hinder us in life. A lot of our habits that we create are negative ones that feel good in the short term, but are often terrible for us in the long term when it comes to our health. Take getting up early as one example. It's very difficult to get up in the winter mornings, especially when it's dark and cold. But early mornings for a lot of us can be the most productive of times to get the selfish things we need to get done before the world wakes up. Exercise, stretching, self-development work. These can all be achieved while the sun is still sleeping and the kids have yet to rise. If you do a quick Google search on the word motivation, you'll find over 4 billion results. If you do the same search on self-discipline, you'll find almost half of those results. When it comes to doing things we know we need to do, we often look for motivation as a source to get fired up and focused for the task in hand. The reality is, if you rely on motivation to get you places in this world, you won't get a lot of things done. This is because motivation is doing things when you feel like doing it. You see, when you're motivated, it's easy to start things because we feel great before we do it. But that's not real life. In real life, the things we know we need to do are near on impossible to keep consistent with. Getting enough sleep, eating healthy food, exercising regularly. So how do we make sure that we get all these things in when it's so difficult to do? We need to start focusing on self-discipline. You see, discipline is doing things regardless of how you feel. Discipline is pushing yourself to do things in the knowledge that it's going to suck before you get started. But once you've done it, you're going to feel awesome. It's hard to go to bed early and get a good night's sleep. But when you do, you have so much more energy and focus to attack the next day. It's hard to create a consistent exercise regime. But when you do, you get more self-confidence, energy, and mentally you're in a much better place. It's hard to eat a healthy, balanced diet. But when you do, you wonder why you never did it before. As you look better, feel better, and have the energy to do so much more with your life. We need to start building up mental models for doing difficult things. Because it's these things that are going to completely change our lives. I say this quote to people every day. Hard things, easy life. Easy things, hard life. If you wake up each day looking for hard things to do before they come knocking on your doorstep, the rest of the day will be so much easier to deal with. If you avoid doing difficult things, then it's only a matter of time before they come knocking at your door. And when they do, you'll find it much harder to cope with the stress that they bring. Life, I've found, is very counterintuitive. When we're afraid of doing something, we do our best to avoid it. This is the amygdala part of our brain thinking that it's keeping us safe and secure, when in actual fact, what it's doing is preventing us from facing our fears and overcoming them. When we struggle with something, we need to expose ourselves more to it, not less. We need to stop listening to the voice in our head that's telling us to quit and keep pushing forward. Because when we do push forward and overcome those fears and anxieties, they become easier to deal with. We become better as human beings as we start living closer to our potential. We build up confidence in our abilities to take on more and deal with whatever life throws at us each day. We build self-esteem, self-confidence, and most importantly, self-discipline. This kind of power cannot be absorbed by some book or some blog post that you read on the internet. It has to be experienced and practiced daily. And, as I said at the start of this, what you practice in private, you are rewarded for in public.